Hey, everybody. It's Romania Black. And, yeah, I couldn't wait. I couldn't wait. How could I? After last volume, volume 33, I was like, no. I started talking about the hero's journey last volume, and I kind of want to go back to that because I was not expressing what I wanted to express with the hero's journey. I was like, oh, there's so much to do. So I am actually going to be spending the first part of this intro kind of going over the hero's journey and where I believe that we are at in the hero's journey with Berserk. Because even though we are on volume 33 and we have until volumes 41 or 42, I believe is what I've been told, before we're caught up with the content so far, obviously that's not the end of Berserk, I don't believe. But I'm trying to figure out, okay, well, where are we within the hero's journey? Because I do believe that even though last week I said that Griffith and Guts kind of subvert the hero's journey in different ways, which they do, looking at the hero's journey as a structure, I am really surprised at how accurately and closely Miura is following the hero's journey, just making subversions and altering things along the way. But the journey is kind of the same. So if you don't know what the hero's journey is, it is directly in reference, and I have different things I'm going to point out here. It's directly in reference with Joseph Campbell's story, Hero with a Thousand Faces. It's been referenced, I don't know how many times in lots of different videos. Probably my favorite reference of it is Brian David Gilbert he tries to break down Kingdom Hearts through the hero's journey and just proves how complicated it can get, especially with that series. And obviously, surprisingly, Berserk falls in line with the hero's journey really, really well looking through it. But I don't think we're done with the hero's journey. Obviously, I think we're just barely at the halfway point, which is interesting enough. So I want to kind of go through the hero's journey, where we're at right now, and talk about that with you all before we get started. I don't really have any comments because I'm going ahead and filming this before the comments come out, but I knew this was going to take a little bit, so I'm like, I'm just going to go ahead and start. One thing I did notice in last week's video, when I was going back through, I made a comment on it in the comment section to hopefully try to deter people from pointing it out. But I think that Sonia, when she was talking about Zod and who Zod is like constantly attracted to and in conflict with, I thought it was a Skull Knight, and going back and re-listening, and I'm like, oh, she's not talking about the Skull Knight, she's talking about Guts, that Zod and Guts are constantly battling. That's what she's getting at. And it's like, oh, okay. So, okay, hero's journey. In the hero's journey, and it's gonna be a little bit hard to see, the hero's journey is a wheel. It's like a clock, mainly. It all chronologically goes from the midnight point back up to midnight to make a full circle. Right? You have your first act. Your second act takes up most of the hero's journey, and it's the longest part, which is proving true in Berserk. And then you have your third act, and I don't know what my dog is chasing, hopefully a bug. And then you have your third act, which ties back into your conclusion, right? So that's where we are. What's interesting to note is that with the hero's journey, if you're talking about supernatural or otherworldly things, your first act starts out in the ordinary world, which is what happens in Berserk, and then it goes into a special world, which is what is happening now in Berserk, and eventually it will tie back to the real world. It'll all come full circle, right? Or at least that's how the hero's journey model is designed, right? So where I think we are here. I think we are at the midpoint of the second act, if I'm being honest, where we are with volume 32. I think we're right around the midpoint of the second act, which I'm going to talk about with you all. But that's kind of where I think I am. So I think we're about halfway through the story, and we still have another half to go, which is a lot. A lot of things going on, and I don't know what Huck's chasing. I hope it is a bug and not a snake or a lizard. We've had lizards in my home before, and I'm like, I don't want to look over and see Huck with like a lizard tail out of his mouth, you know. Anyway, so with the hero's journey, the first act is called The Separation, which fits perfectly in line with Berserk, right? So I would say the Black Swordsman arc and the Golden Age arc is Act 1. It fits us into the real world. It gets us ready for that. The first thing that we do is that there is a call to action. And with the call to action, there is usually a mentor that is the first major hurdle of that. Now, with Berserk, it's a little interesting because I would argue that with Griffith kind of falls in line with the mentor role of the hero's journey. And by that, I mean he finds the Behelit. The Behelit and the God Hand are kind of mentors to him and leading him, starting him along his journey. Him coming from, the thing about the mentor in the hero's journey is that usually the main character comes from humble beginnings and finds that mentor and then goes around. I think it's a fly that my dog's chasing. And that is where Griffith kind of falls in line perfectly. He starts out seeing the castle, but being in the streets. And then the God Hand gives him the Behelit and sends him off on his journey. And that's where it starts. Guts, on the other hand, doesn't really start out with the mentor figure as the hero's journey aligns it. He has Gambino, which could be kind of like a pseudo one. I would argue Guts' mentor that really gets him started on his journey is Griffith. Griffith kind of gets him started with the Band of the Hawk and kind of set out on this journey once they meet. So Guts kind of falls in line with the hero journey at this point, but it's through a little bit of unorthodox means. Whereas Griffith is pretty orthodox in like, this is how his hero's journey starts out, right? So then there are the next two steps, which are the trials of worth and the first threshold of determination. And I would say that most of the Golden Age arc are these two things. It is the Band of the Hawk's adventures. It's Griffith rising up through the ranks. It's Guts forming the relationships with the Band of the Hawk members. It is all very cut and dry in terms of what that is like. And from that first part of the hero's journey, they have things called the hook, where at first Guts doesn't want to join the Band of the Hawk, but then he gets in the Band of the Hawk, so it's like refusal of the call, but then you join the band and you're there. You meet your mentor, which is Griffith, and the book calls it Meeting the White Spirit, which Griffith being all in white kind of connects to that. And then there's the roads of trials and tests. There's enemies, there's allies, there's obstacles, there's being put into the whale's belly. I would say the whale's belly would probably be the moment where Casca and Guts have the cave moment, and then they have to battle through Adon's forces. I would say that that's kind of that moment. Leading up, you could say that Zod might be the whale's belly, and him and Griffith's interactions there. There's lots of different moments from the Golden Age arc that tie to that threshold and trials of determination that fit really, really well, right? That fit well. So then we have the idea in the first threshold of crossing the first threshold and plot point 1, which is the final test, so to speak, right? And that means like approaching the innermost cave, approaching into the maw into the lion's jaw. And that would be everything leading up to Guts leaving and Griffith going downhill and leading up to the eclipse happening. That would be leading up to the eclipse. Going into the mall is the entire eclipse moment, and our two heroes come out of it. One literally subverts the entire hero journey and becomes a villain. It's like at this point, Griffith and Guts have been going along the hero's journey up until this first major crossroads, which is the eclipse. And two things happen. One, Guts reaches his lowest point of them all. He enters the lowest point, and his final test proves to be at utmost disaster, which is part of the hero's journey. So Guts is kind of following along the predetermined route of narrative. Griffith kind of subverts all of this. Griffith is like, nope, I'm sacrificing them all to become a god. Peace out. And becomes the villain. So he completely breaks away from this hero's journey. And I would say from that point on, Griffith he rises from the abyss, and we'll talk about the abyss here in a second, but he kind of skips all the other hero's journey portions, and Guts kind of takes the reins in following through with those. So yeah, Griffith kind of just completely takes the hero's journey and is like, meh, and just kind of goes his own way and doesn't really fall in line with it anymore. And maybe that's why he's kind of relegated to the side, and maybe that's why Miura doesn't focus on him as much, because he's not following in the steps of the hero's journey anymore. So he is just kind of relegated as a side character. But like I talked last week, and I know everybody's going to take me out of context and be like, she's just bitching about the story. And it's not that. It's just Griffith was so compelling in the Golden Age arc, and I'm sure some of you will mention this in the comments. He was so compelling in the Golden Age arc, and there was so much to his character, and there was so much to him. But once he sunk down into that little egg and got reborn into Femto, it's like all of that was just, boop, okay, we're done. Now he's a god, and he wants to become king, and we're good. It's like that's it. And I would say too that just because you become a god hand and become OP doesn't mean you can't have personality. I mean, Slan has personality, right? Right? We don't know much about Conrad or the other one because they're never in this story. And Void has kind of personality. He's a dick, but he's at least it's some personality, right? But Femto is just, it's just very, very holier than thou, right? And he just kind of forgets, he just stops being as compelling. Whereas Guts, who seemed kind of, like the generic barbarian at the beginning of this, becomes more compelling as he's going on the hero's journey. So anyway, we get the last part of Act 1 is the start of the Abyss. And the Abyss portion is going into what we call the descent. The main character is getting drug basically through the mud after this first ordeal. The Abyss is the part of the story, according to Rum Blues on their article through Medium, where the harrowing of the soul begins. Here, the hero succumbs to his darkness, and in this blind, voracious state, the hero loses all semblance of what made him the chosen hero. He may continue his journey, but the paths he takes to reach his goal warp and bleed, the brand, the bleeding, usually with the blood of unnecessary bloodshed. Which, yep, pretty much. The mind of the hero in the Abyss is a beast caught between a cliff and a forest fire. Fear of the future, hatred of the present, and resentment of the past. Which are all things that Guts are experiencing, right? At this point, no elixir or salve could heal the hero's darkness. Only one thing could quench his growing madness and tortured soul. The distant sparkle of the goals, reward, boon, and victory, which leads to the second threshold. So basically the Abyss is Guts' journey from the eclipse to the end of volume 23. Basically. So basically volumes 13 or 14 to 23, those 10 volumes are literally Guts' journey through the Abyss. And the novel by Campbell talks about the shadow self, which is literally the beast of darkness that is following Guts like a shadow throughout his entire journey. So there is that connection to the shadow world. They talk about finding love in the underworld, which you might be thinking of Slan and the whole cave situation, but I would argue that finding love in the underworld is literally him, getting Casca back after he's lost her all this time. I would argue everything leading up to the conviction arc in the Tower of Conviction is all tracing through the Abyss. And it's this idea that through this ordeal, he goes through wandering, harrowing of the soul, dismemberment. He loses his arm. He loses his eye. He's constantly battered and bruised. And then what keeps him going is the idea of getting Casca back. And that leads us up through volume 23. And what ends up happening is that at Guts' lowest point, he experiences the worst part of the Abyss, where it says that as the second threshold starts, it's called the Spark. It is here at the midpoint of the story where the chosen hero who started the adventure has died. Not physically died, mind you, but his moral and self-identity has died. Overcome with his own darkness and the onslaught of oncoming darkness, the hero loses everything that made him who he was. And in this depth of despair, shadow, madness, and fear, the hero accomplishes the second threshold, bringing with him the view of journey's end. And that's pretty much the end of volume 23. Guts feels like the worst person in the world. He feels like he's harmed Casca, the woman that he loves. He doesn't know what to do. He doesn't know how to fight the God Hand. He doesn't have any weapons other than his sword, but his sword is causing destruction. He's literally at his lowest point. And that is when in volume 24, we meet Shirk, who kind of starts what's called the Journey's Renaissance that brings us back to getting the new Band of the Hawk. Not the one that Griffith has formed, that's the pseudo one, or the faux one, but the real second coming of the Band of the Hawk. And so basically it says, but with the death of his former self and the creation of his present beastly form, which is literally the beast of darkness, a heavy price is paid for the completion of the second threshold. This price could be one of many things: the death of a beloved friend, the separation from a romantic partner, or this author's favorite, an unintended consequence of horrific magnitude. An unintended consequence of horrific magnitude. It is from some sort of overly traumatic event that the hero himself had a hand in, which, even in the depth of his darkness, sparks the seed of his true moral and divine soul to be reborn. And that's literally the end of volume 23, where he realizes, I've messed up. I've got to do better. Godot had this conversation with me. Godot had this conversation. We gotta keep going. So that's kind of where Shirk comes in, right? And so the journey's renaissance where we had the spark. Guts post volume 23 with the intro of Shirk. We have this concept of the return, which is volumes 24 through 32 of where we're at so far. Guts has been reforging his friendships, his connections, his relationships. There's still, this part here is where we're at currently. It says, after the horror and ill-gotten victory over the second threshold, the hero begins his return to the light, which is where we're kind of in the process of right now. But the return is not without its hurdles. The hero at this point is so devastated at what he's become, loses hope in his quest and himself, which literally has happened, right? I was reading this going, this is Berserk, right? So it says that his companions, with their good intentions, try to persuade the hero out from his guilt, but to no avail, which is kind of like Rickert at the start of that volume. Then the time comes when the hero is so distraught with himself that he leaves his companions and the quest, which is kind of him going off on his own. But I think that Berserk kind of subverts this part of the hero's journey a little bit, in that you could say that happened back with Guts in the Golden Age arc, but it doesn't quite fit up with this. I think that Miura subverts it a little bit by forcing Guts to have Isidro, forcing Guts to have Puck, forcing him to have Farnese and Serpico. I think Miura subverts this a little bit in forcing Guts to have people following him that he didn't necessarily before. So rather than him go off all by himself, Miura's like, yeah, we've tried that song and dance before and it didn't work. So let's try again. It's like, okay. So basically he says that Rum Blues says in their article here on Medium, that says, alone with his thoughts and guilt in this landscape of self-regret, the hero may be helped by his mentor or some supernatural force and brought back to realization about the importance of his quest, his life, and his purpose. And in this part of the story, the mentor takes the form of Skull Knight. Skull Knight becomes the mentor that brings him back and is like, hey, isn't she important to you? Hey, shouldn't you make these decisions? Hey, you're probably going to go through some shit, but isn't it worth it to come out on the other side? And so Skull Knight kind of takes on that mentor role at this point in the story. He's kind of become the mentor that Guts didn't have at the start of the hero's journey, and now he does, because Guts has kind of fully taken on the hero's journey, whereas Griffith has kind of abandoned it. And so then, from that point, and from this contemplation, the hero, with all of his scars of his past actions, heals himself and returns to the group and the quest, with a new determination, compassion, and will that could only have been forged in the hottest and most ferocious of flames. And with this newly tempered will, he journeys towards the third threshold. And that's literally where we are. It's everything Guts has been through, as impatient as I have been, and as we've been waiting for it, it has kind of led, Guts had to go through what he went through to get to this point. And we've seen in the last couple volumes some really, really good payoffs. We've seen Guts, accept the fact that he doesn't have to get revenge on Griffith. He's like, nope, I'm going to go to Elfhelm with Casca. She's more important than Griffith, and she's more important than my revenge. I'm going to stick with my friends. He made the choice to go back after Farnese. He's made the choice to help do this, help do that, and do things that Guts from 15, 20 volumes ago would never, like the Guts of the Black Swordsman arc and this current Guts could not be more different, even though it's still Guts, and we can still recognize that it's him. So I think that in terms of the hero's journey, and I didn't look ahead because I was like, as soon as I read this, I was like, oh, I don't want to read ahead and know what's to come, because so far Berserk is following the hero's journey really accurately. And I'm like, ooh, so I'm going to keep this bookmarked that I can go back to. And when we finally catch up to Miura's portion, when we get done with Miura, I think Deluxe Volume 14, which is going to be here before we know it, and we start Mori's section, I'll probably do a wrap up of that. But so far, the hero's journey, looking at this and looking at where Berserk has been, even though Miura has subverted some things, Guts is following it pretty accurately at this point. Now, that could all get complicated and transformed as we go into future volumes, but it's pretty on the nose right now. But we're basically right here. We're not quite over here to the third act, the third threshold. No, we still got some ways to go. I think that my only impatience last volume was that I was sitting here going, Guts is following the hero's journey, but Griffith is not. And he's not. It's like Griffith is kind of trying to trick us into thinking that he's following the hero's journey, but Griffith isn't suffering, right? Griffith, he shed all that suffering by sacrificing his friends and becoming a god hand. Griffith does not seem like he's in any despair whatsoever. Probably the only despair he's in is the fact that he can't do exactly what he wants because the Guts and Casca's baby is part of his corporal shell, or its essence is. We don't know if it's still there or not. Who knows? But I will be very curious to see where this story takes us from here and what we end up getting. But I just wanted to go back through. I know that I've taken a good solid 20 minutes to get through this first part, but it was driving me crazy when I got done with volume 32. I was like, I want to go talk about the hero's journey, but I need to look stuff up and I want to be researched. I don't want to just start spouting stuff, because then if I'm not organized, I'll go on a tangent, as you know, and we'll just dive into a rabbit hole. So that's where we're at. Yes, all of these things are leading us there, and we'll just see if we make it to the third threshold by the time we catch up with the series. I feel like we will, because that's still, several volumes away. I feel like we'll get into the third act. I feel like we're going to get around here by the end when I catch up. And then my rest of my reactions to Berserk as those volumes come out one by one will be getting us from this point to the end. So, but we'll just have to wait and see. Anyway, I'm going to hold on just a second, and I'm going to flip Whiteboard Kun over so we can start fresh, because as you can see, there's not a lot of room on Whiteboard Kun. So just give me a hot second. Okay, I'm back. I'm so excited to start volume 33. I really am. But I needed to get all that out of my system, and now we're good. So let's not waste any more time. We are going to dive into volume 33 of Berserk, and we're going to do that here in 3, 2, 1. Before we turn this page, opening this volume up, I can't believe this volume 33 looks like a big one, honestly, because it looks really massive. Maybe I'm just misjudging, but two things came to mind. One, I did not comment on it last time, but on this page, you can see Guts with Farnese and a Shirk above him. He's got his little crutch, very Golden Age-esque. But Casca standing there, the anchor behind her, the subtle symbolism of her being the anchor to Guts and his heart is there. So I was like, oh, that's a nice touch, Miura. Very nice. The other thing was the page that we're about to turn, they've inserted these little kind of inserts in between the chapters, and they just look like page fillers. It's the first time I've really noticed them, but this one is of the God hand holding the Behelit, the image that we've had at the beginning of every episode of the 1997 anime. So I'm like, ooh, we never really got to know. We suspected that was Griffith's hand or Void's hand, but we never really got confirmation. I'm like, is this gonna lead us to finding some things out? Who knows? Maybe, possibly. But yeah, I'm so excited to dive into this. Volume 33. There's our boy Griffith with his elaborate shoulder pads. Okay. Oh, this is a brand new character page. There's a lot going on. Obviously Ganishka is the only new one on here. It's white instead of black, which is interesting. I wonder if that's because of Griffith. What Ganishka says, an apostle, the emperor of Kushan Empire. He's trying to surpass the God Hand. That's all we need to know. Everybody else here we know. These are all good choices, good pictures. Great. I like Guts and Griffith being on opposite pages of each other. Kudos. And then we have, nice. And we have the little opening here. We might as well read the contents here. Guts, Casca, Farnese, Serpico, Shirk, Isidro, Puck, and Ivalera have boarded the Seahorse. Oh, the sea. We'll talk about that in just a second. The Ith Navy warship captained by Roderick, and have long last set sail for Elfhelm. Living on board as guests brings about emotional shifts and a brief time of rest for each member of the group. As they pursue their own aims, they again become aware they have other people on their minds. Of course, you're stuck out at sea. Guts' journey to this point has been eaten away at his mind and body, and the Berserker armor has proven to be an additional ordeal. Even so, Guts' indomitable spirit has finally changed a faint hope into reality. Instead of achieving revenge against Griffith, Guts, though his feelings waver at times, has managed to ensure Casca's safety. The voyage to Elfhelm, however, has only just begun. Of course, yeah, we couldn't just get there. We couldn't just get there. It's a land of elves, so it has to be guarded. I'm sure there's going to be perils along the way, but we've reached a major turning point where Guts has decided we're not gonna follow Griffith. We're just gonna go and try to do the right thing. What I was gonna say about the seahorse, I always feel like seahorses they're used a lot of times as symbols in BL series because in nature the male seahorse is actually the one that gives birth. So I feel like they've been claimed as kind of like an LGBT symbol sometimes. So I find that interesting. It is not in any way, shape, or form deterring me from my theory that Roderick and Magnifico could be having some things going on the side, but we'll just wait and see what happens. The bubbles of futility. Well, that sounds both cute and despairing. How fitting for Berserk. Uh-huh. Man, Guts, his whole body from being burned and electrocuted and having all those scars on it, even though he's been healed. Yeah, his whole body is just a massive scarage. Bless his heart. Maybe when Casca gets her mind back, she will see all those scars and realize what ordeals he's had to go through to get to that place. Maybe she'll see that and kind of, be moved by it. We'll just have to wait and see. Oh, shit. Oh. What's wrong with his vision? Oh. Is his vision messed up by... I wonder why he did that. Huh. Interesting. I wonder if Shirk and Farnese are wondering about it too. Oh, Boss Guts. I like that Roderick calls him Boss Guts. And he's like, you could just call me Guts. I only call Shirk Boss. We're good there. He's like, well, then you can just call me Roderick. Oh, you're keeping watch. Is that Eren Yeager? Oh. And of course, she's like, is she reaching up there for the... I'm going to try to get this out. There we go. Why don't you stick closer to her? Isn't she at risk? I mean... Ooh, here we go. What exactly is she to you? Well, now would be the time while we're on this boat, got nowhere to go, you can't escape me. Might as well ask some pertinent questions. You can't run away from these. And I like that Farnese and Shirk are like the most gossipy Betties. Like, oh my God, he's actually going to talk about this. Let's go. Good job, Roderick. Is she your woman? The way she looks up at him, though. Can you make such a claim? Well... she's my... Just say it, Miura. Just say if she's your friend. Just say if she's, someone that is precious to you. Just say it, damn it. You're edging. And then, of course, Farnese wakes up at that exact moment. I don't want to know. Why did she go there? Is it because she didn't want to hear what Guts was going to say and Shirk knows it? Oh, damn it. Now, just a minute, miss. Casca, why are you getting in all these dangerous situations? Why? And I know Casca's trying to get away from him because she feels like he's hurting. Oh, my God. Look at Guts' hand. Look at how, just raw and, the nails and it's calloused and cracked. And Guts is trying to reach out his hand to help you. Oh. Oh, damn it. Is that his metal arm, though? Why was the metal arm bandaged? Why did it need to be bandaged? It was just a metal arm. Oh, Casca has, to be fair, Casca is known for just jumping off of things of her own volition, but she doesn't have, that's kind of my reasoning is why? But why, Miura? When Casca leapt off the cliffs before, it was because she had all this like inner meaning and turmoil and everything. And here it just seems like she's just wandering aimlessly and then she just boop falls off. But we don't get to see any of her like she doesn't know what's going on around her. So why would she I guess this is my issue at this moment, is when Casca's jumped off the cliffs before, it's because of all the inner turmoil and guilt and shame that she's felt for herself in this situation, and she's just determined that's the best course of action. And it's not an instinctive thing at all. Instinct would tell you, don't jump, bitch, save yourself. But she's just like, oh, woe is me, and then just jumps off. And Guts has had to go after her every time, right? So it would make sense if that was the case. But here, this Casca is just simple and going off of instinct. So why is she trying to jump? Instinct, if you're like a base animal instinct, would not tell you to jump. This is just to move the plot forward. And of course they're like, oh, Guts, you're in no shape to go overboard. And he's like, you know this has happened before. Yeah, it's just to repeat that moment from before. But that moment from before had a reason why it happened. Here, there wasn't necessarily a reason. It just, I mean, if it gets Guts to help save her, sure, I can get it, but it's just kind of a plot contrivance just to make it happen, right? And to get this moment here. My left arm's too heavy. Oh my God, yeah, and he's weak. Oh my God, so it's dragging him down. Anytime she and I stand next to water, nothing good ever comes from it. Well, that's one way of putting it, yeah. Keep Casca away from ponds. Well, Guts, why do you think that is? Why do you think she's jumped all those times before? Maybe this will get him to contemplate about that. Maybe this will get him to think about why maybe that happened. But that sucks about his arm dragging him down. Yep, bittersweet, painful memories of distant days. But at the end, it's like every time he goes back to those memories with her where everything was great, they always end back up at the eclipse where everything went wrong. It's like it always leads back to that trauma. And there's that monster's eye, right? The eye. I love that the pupil of the demon dog's eye is the eclipse in the sun. That's really good. Oh, and they're like, oh, hey, Guts! You push yourself too hard in the shape you're in, of course you're gonna drown. Roderick rescued you. Oh, Roderick looks amazing with his hair down. Maybe we're a little more closer to even. I'm hoping he didn't use mouth to mouth. Is Guts thinking that, or is that Puck? Maybe that was Puck. I mean, what are you trying to say? Are you saying that Roderick would use mouth to mouth? I wouldn't blame him if he did. Don't make any sudden movements. Oh, yeah. No, Casca's fine. Yeah. Farnese's giving her a bath. She's like, Guts needs his rest, so leave us alone. Okay. I have to redraw the erased talisman. Okay. Roderick looks amazing. Look at I want to like zoom in on this. Roderick is showing us abs. Miura, why'd you make that a tiny ass panel? We got to watch all these naked women in full blown spreads on the sheet, and you can't give me a more large panel of Roderick and his abs? Where is my equality, Miura? Like, Roderick looks amazing there, and you're going to give us this tiny little thing, but then it's like boobs in big, like, Miura. Oh no, Magnifico's dying. He hasn't even done anything. Of course. Oh, wow. And his arm there. But he didn't have any grip. Okay, that makes more sense why it didn't work. He didn't have any grip on the hand, so he couldn't hold on to her. It's just a lump of iron I attached so I could beat up my enemies. And she slipped right through. I guess even if you force back what was lost, it won't be the way that it was. Well, no. And that's the thing. It's never going to be what it was before. There's just no way. But that doesn't mean it's not worth getting back. But I like that Shirk's like, he's having this existential crisis, and she's like, what's going on? He's like, yeah, this wasn't... He's like, how could I reach out to grab her with this hand when that's not what it's there for? Damn, that's a cold ass moment. I guess Miura does give us the full shot of guts and everything, but damn. Yeah, bubbles of futility. Naval battle, part 1. Well, it transmits to me as I'm doing this. Maybe pain. Maybe that's a result of our ethereal bodies overlapping. Yeah, to go over the brand. His large back burns and makes it feel hot. She's like, I clung to this, albeit ethereally. He's like, are you done? Almost. I love her little glasses, right? That's my own seal. She's like, leave me alone, Ivalera. What is she to you? Is she your woman? She's my... Well, I wish we could understand what he said next. Oh, that's fine. Because we already have something. Something that belongs to just us. So... Yeah, girl, no offense, but you're way too young for him. And you guys have your friendship, and that's a bond that you all have. I like that Shirk kind of overcomes jealousy in this moment because she very much does what Sonia cannot. Sonia is jealous of Griffith and what he claims to have with Charlotte, and it leads Sonia to kind of feel this resentment towards Charlotte. Whereas Shirk is like, you know, Guts and I do things that Casca and him cannot. But she's like, it's fine if he loves Casca. She's like, we have our own bond, our own friendship. I don't need to feel jealous of Casca. We have our own thing, and that's okay. Yeah. Oh. You just got Farnese. Farnese like, I guess I deserved that for getting... Oh, soap in your eye. Why must you be that way? Oh, damn. He nearly died. Don't you realize he's been hurt again and again for your sake? He's been covered in wounds. Roll credits to that chapter, and yet you don't understand a thing. And still he comes after you. It's no fair. Meanwhile, whereas Shirk has accepted that if he loves Casca, that's fine. They have a special bond. Farnese is realizing that Guts does not feel that way for her. It's Casca, and she's like, and Farnese, of course, doesn't understand what happened to them before she met them, so she has no clue what they've been through together. She's only seen, you know, Elaine. She's seen that version of Casca on. She hasn't seen what's come before, so of course she'd be like, why does he keep fighting for you? Why are you so special? And then she tries to fit this bucket on her head. It isn't fair. I would like for Casca to get her mind back so she could have this conversation with Farnese and you know, be able to answer. It is so frustrating that Casca, it's like Farnese is just yelling at the wind. There's just no conversation, no dialogue. She just sees Casca being innocent here and she doesn't understand. And she, of course, she can't ask Guts because Guts would probably be mad about it. So, Meanwhile, Roderick is no longer showing off his abs. Sad days. Okay, they're flying flags of our own nation. But there's been no response to the signal we sent. And he's like, you don't say. He's like, sounds like pirates. Maybe trying to pass off as one of our own ships. I like Isidro's been on the crow's nest the whole time. Meanwhile, oh man, Shirk is getting her apothecary diaries fantasy on. And Guts is like, son of a bitch. Guts is just like, I just laid down. Guts is like, I just laid down and here we are. Oh no, is that the pirate captain from before? Oh my gosh, is it really? Scallywags. Yep, I know that peg leg anywhere. Well, they're going to try to take everybody captive, huh? Oh my God, no! Call me boss! I like the contrast of this seafaring captain, this pirate. Basically, Charlotte's father's been reincarnated as a pirate king. I like the idea that he demands that they call him boss, whereas Guts and Roderick were like, you don't have to call us boss. Let's beat out the formalities. All right, so they have 3 ships. This one guy looks like he's a play on Bob Hoskins' Shmee character from Hook. And honestly, the captain here looks like it's straight up from Hook, which was in the 90s, so Miura probably saw it, so who knows. All right, pirate colors. That is such an on-the-nose thing. I like Roderick's like, I know. He's like, I knew that they were pirates all along. He's like, yeah. He's like, he's like, the women and the wounded need to hide in the hold. What an illiterate man Roderick is. And he's like, leave the sea to me. And Isidro's like, but wait. And I like that Puck's like, make with the mayhem. And Serpico's like, you know what? If Serpico, Roderick, and Azon get to do some fighting in this volume, I'm fine with that. Serpico and Roderick could team up. I like this. Roderick, show your worth, my friend. Oh my gosh. And he's like, Isidro, you're going to get killed, but whatever. Windmaster. Oh, I love him calling Serpico Windmaster. He's like, take care, Farnese. And Serpico's like, the name is Serpico, and you don't have to tell me twice. He's like, bitch, I was going to do that anyway. All right. Oh, I'm a big fan of Pirates of the Caribbean. I love me some seafaring. Muppet Treasure Island's the best version of Treasure Island. Let's go. Yar, the sea louse. Oh my gosh. Miura's getting it on with his pirate fantasy. Let's do this. Let's go. I'm excited. A seahorse figurehead. It couldn't be. Oh, so the seahorse figurehead is basically they say one ship single-handedly defeated 5 Tudor warships. Oh, if Roderick is the one connected to the seahorse and not just his family crest. Roderick, the sailing prince. It's Roderick Seahorse. Oh, yes, please. Yes, please. Oh, I'm all for this. The seahorse representing Roderick. Love. Love, 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 love. Naval battle part 2. Of course, Magnifico is just like dying in the bottom of the ship. Okay. You know what? Isidro has come so far in this story, hasn't he? Isidro starting out wanting to be like the best swordsman and just following Guts and getting whatever advice he could from Guts. And then he met Serpico and started getting advice from Serpico. And he's also, he's befriended and been influenced by Shirk and Farnese. And then now he's come across Roderick. So Isidro's getting to know all of these, including Morgan back, at the previous arc. Isidro's had a lot of opportunities to meet these really interesting people. Even Mule, who's been an influence on him. So that's so fascinating to me. I like that with his character. Damn, Miura. I also realized over the course of editing these last few volumes why I think the pacing and it feels like edging so much, because Miura is like, in many ways, anti-Kubo. We've talked about him and Kubo from Bleach being kind of similar and dissimilar. Kubo could use up a lot of white space. And when I was reading Bleach, especially the latter parts of the manga, there was a lot of white space being used. And there was reasons for that. I'm not going to get into those because it's not a Bleach review. But there was a lot of white space, and a lot of people complained that the pacing was because Kubo was taking too much time and wasting too much time by utilizing white space and not getting to the plot. And I feel like Miura is the polar opposite of that. In terms of, he does, and I don't want to use the word waste because that's not what I mean, but he uses a lot of pages without getting through much plot sometimes, but it's in service of this. It's in service of art. Here is all this amazing illustrations that I've done. Here you go. You're welcome. And you just have to sit there and go, yeah, that's amazing. But this is just a double spread for a chapter that's utilized for just showing a cannon blast, right? Oda would have done this in a panel this big. For one piece. That would have been it. And then he would have gone on to 1,000 other things. So it's just interesting how mangaka utilize white space in different ways, shapes, and forms. But I mean, Miura's looks incredible. So can we be mad about it? Probably not. All right. So with our seafaring, this pirate captain, he has a lot of nerve, a lot of tenacity. So Captain Shark Rider. Shark Rider, really? Oh my God. Oh, that's why he's biting everyone, because his name is Shark Rider. Okay. Oh my gosh. About ship, hard to port. Oh my gosh. We're going to go head on with each other. I also love when Miura does 2 pages back to back. The top of one page is one character, top of the page is the character that they're opposing. And I like that Miura does it. And in the volume, it looks very good. It looks intentional and has a lot of stylistic detail to it. Okay, what a prince. What a prince indeed. I love Roderick. He's great. That dog, he planned this. The windward side has always the advantage. Oh, Magnifico, I don't blame you a bit for wanting to get on this. I think the mom knew it too. She was like, I'm all about this. This looks great. He's not doing a bad job at all, is he? Okay, I'm going to readjust my camera here a little bit so y'all can try to see this. All right, we got our cannon fire. All right, Yar, she's up ahead. I love the front of Shark Rider's. It's so literal. The front of his ship is a pirate riding a shark. That's actually adorable, and I am in love with that design. I love that it's a pirate riding a shark like a horse. Yes, please. I want a statue of that. That's so cute. Where'd she go? Where'd the sea go? Where'd she go? Is she behind them? Oh. What? It's how you utilize the situation. Good show, good sir. Naval custom dictates that the tar-stained palm be turned downward. What? All right, and there we go. I love that Puck this whole time has his little sea captain's uniform on. Wow, that ship is a monster. Roderick is so confident. I just love that it says something for being in your element as a character, because, you know, you have Femto in the other realm as the God Hand and how confident he was back during the Black Swordsman arc. And then here, Roderick on land amongst these monsters, he's like, I don't really exactly know how to handle the situation. But here at sea, this is where he's most comfortable with. So it's kind of like Guts using a sword. Roderick on a ship is pretty much the equivalent to that. Man, he did make a fool of you, yeah. So they're withdrawing, really? I won't forget this, sailing Prince of Ith. I hope the shark bites your ass. Do we pursue? He's like, nah, let him go. He's like, they'll make fine prey for other pirates or privateers. Besides, why would we do something as inelegant as capturing those squalid fools and making them sail together with my fiancé? Oh my gosh. Well, that's why he told Serpico to watch after her, and Serpico's like, dude. What do you think I've been doing this whole time? Poor Serpico. Okay. Go inform my lady in the hold. And he's like, what? He's like, so you're not just a wussy lady killer. Isidro. I like Isidro seeing him being so chivalrous. Oh. The bombardment seems to have ended. Oh my God, they're just on the barrels. What is oh, Casca's catching a rat. I was like, what? It looked like she was about to stab one of the barrels. I was like, girl. His fever's risen due to the burns. He can't perspire. Oh, he can't sweat. That sucks. Can you dispel the nightmare using magic? Well, I can, but his debility is intense. So I think it would instead become a liability. Oh. And there's the dog, right? And like the chain, the hooks, the chains, like it being held back. I do like Shirk saying, like, I cannot keep saving him over and over again. He's going to have to build up some resistance, or he's going to come to depend upon me. And while I like that bond, I don't want to have to be the one to get him out every single time. He needs to save himself. Wow. Oh my gosh. All those chains. Damn. Miura loves drawing Griffith, and he likes drawing this damn dog. That is, oh my gosh. Like, it's just like, I love that each of the spikes are piercing the dog, and instead of seeing blood come out, it's darkness and shadow. That is really, really good. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh my God. Anyway. A howl from the darkness. Ooh, okay. I really like this page. Serpico and Farnese and Shirk over Guts, and he looks like younger Taguro with his body that like shredded. He's burning up. Yeah. Oh my God, that dog. Oh. I mean, back to back, but still. That is such a crazy, and it's got like the chain in its mouth. Is it going to try to bite through the chain to free it? Oh. Don't think you can bind me with this yoke. The moment you acquired that shell, I had already been released. The clever witch thinks she's tamed me, but that's just temporary. Your new companions, those you protect, warm lights. Fine for now. You cling to those trifling chains. But the closer they get to you and the more entangled with me, the more exposed they are to death. Then someday, they'll be smashed and torn just like that time in the eclipse. Make them precious to you. It's all the more to lose. And it's like this dog is trying to psychologically manipulate him to where it's like being close to these people is what's keeping you sane, and the dog doesn't like that. So the dog's like, oh yeah, well, the closer you are, the more you're putting them in danger. So he's trying to guilt trip Guts into abandoning them. No one will be able to prevent that moment. You'll find yourself consumed by me. Maybe one run rampant with hatred and wild joy, just to crush with these fangs the true light that burns us. So the Beast of Darkness is like, don't be mistaken. These lights are false. These people around you that you think you care about. Griffith is the one that's the one we should be after. Like, it keeps wanting him to go back and try to get revenge. But for now, I'll obey. I'll hold my breath deep in the darkness within us. Bound, restrained. I'll conserve my energy. And then, someday. Oh, that makes me very nervous. I'm like, Miura, my hope was that Guts would get to the point of, restraining this beast and taming it and making it something he can control. But instead it's like, I'll just hold off until you least expect it, until it's most convenient for the plot, and then I'll come back and be a problem. Which, I know I didn't want to get into the other point, but there is a moment towards the third threshold of the hero's journey where part of it is kind of like having to seize this black moment or a moment of realization. So later on, Guts is going to have to deal with this stupid dog. And he's going to have to eventually be like, okay, we need to talk and I'm going to control you, or he's going to have to abandon it or something. So eventually it's going to have to come to a head, and the dog is showing us, the audience, that time is going to happen and it's going to be frustrating. But he's like, fine, I'll just sit back here in the back and get stronger and stronger and stronger until you least expect it, and then be a problem. I'm like, Miura, why can't we just take care of this? All right. What was that? Of course he can't remember. Tale as old as time. We'll make it to where the main character can't remember the darkness inside of him until he least expects it. Gege Akutami's been taking notes, as we've talked about. Hiahoy, we won. Okay. It's dark down here. Aw, and everybody's having this little like One Piece style celebratory thing. You can't have a pirate victory without everybody drinking. I like that Azon and Isidro are just having a great old time. All the guys looking at Puck and Ivalera. I like Serpico has his little hands around the mug. That's really cute. Ain't that an apple barrel? Is it the kid? Maybe the kid snuck on board. You're looking really rough, man. Sure, thanks to you. What's this matter of importance? I overheard some of the crew. The Skellig island they're headed for is known amongst sailors as a legendary island of elves. Apparently. Legend says a great elf king dwells there or something. It's not just a legend. I'm a merchant. Unlike the sailors, I don't happen to have a mind that swallows superstitious. But things are different this time. We have living proof on the ship, 2 of them in fact. And what are you trying to say? I want you to help me. With you and your ship's firepower, we'll conquer the legendary elf island. Conquer? Oh my god, Magnifico! You are not scoring points with Roderick at this moment. Conquer? Well, think of it. Elves! Elves, man! They're real and alive. They show up in every country's fairy tales. And they call it an elf island. Well, wouldn't there be some veritable swarms of them? It's a gold mine. If we capture them and sell them to royalty and nobility of different countries, no, eventually we'll breed them, popularize them, and build a huge market for them. The masses will leap and buy them up, especially the women and children. Well, it's no use asking me. You better ask him. Oh my god. Apologies to Mr. Dazaki, the director. What? Wait, let's make a deal. Wait a minute, what? Wouldn't you like to be king of the elves? Oh my god. Oh my god, Puck. Was he just in there and this is like making fun? I feel like this is making fun of another Japanese series. And Puck is just like, okay, fine. He's like, oh, that's right. Someone knows the inner workings of the island is crucial to the plan. You help us with this. And Roderick's like, what are we doing? I like Roderick's like, you're being ridiculous. I like that Roderick is not going along with this at all. If we manage to conquer the island, I promise you the throne. How about that? And then Puck is like, flatter me. Lower thy head. Yes, you're standing on it, though. Roderick saying good luck with that. Okay, for a hot second, I was like, are we about to make this ridiculous and go to Elfhelm and try to subjugate it? Are we really about to do that, Miura? Because we don't need that business. And I like that it's mainly just now, this is Magnifico's side quest, and Puck and Magnifico are distracted now. They're going to go over and do their own thing. And Roderick's like, good luck with that. Maybe Roderick and Magnifico are not meant to be together. How sad. Shoes. Oh. Farnese. Roderick, don't move. Milady's just full of surprises. If it's not one thing, it's another. What brings you up here? He's trying to be all smooth. I'm sorry, is it a problem? No, it's nothing like that. What's the matter? Are you sobering up? Oh, well, thank you. Today my magic training had me higher than the top of the mast. I looked down on the ship and the ocean from way up in the sky. It was an experience overflowing with frightening freedom and delight. As if I had melted into the sky, I could go anywhere and become anything. I was filled with a sense of omnipotence. But when the moment passed and I returned to the physical world, I was as ever nothing more than a small drop, floating on the sea upon which I looked. Never mind that, I'm not of any real use. I can't even heal him the way a teacher does. Ha! Roderick's like, I envy him. Luck of the wounded. Oh my god, Roderick. Well, that's not true. Ooh. Sure, your companions are very flashy in their own way. But you learn this when you sail a ship. Officers, gunners, troop sailors, the cook, cabin boy, and doctor, if they don't each fulfill their role, a ship doesn't truly go. Isn't it because you're responsible for that girl that they're able to rampage freely the way that they do? Oh, I'm so glad Roderick's telling her this. Yes, somebody needs to. I'm so glad it's Roderick. And he's shameless. He don't care. From that perspective, aren't you the one whom they're most thankful? After all, Guts is the boss. And he trusts you with what seems to be the most important to him. Oh, That might not have been very comforting. Like, Roderick is pretty good at reading the room overall, but I'm so glad he's telling her this, right? Thank you. I'm sure that's true. I shall rule all! Huzzah! I feel like Serpico, poor Serpico. Serpico's like, he likes his sister, but he's like, obviously we can't be together. Roderick is a nice guy. I kind of am all for him. At first, I didn't really want him and Farnese together, but it's growing on me. Like, he's a nice guy. I appreciate him. Of course, Isidro and Azon have become friends. And then Shirk and Casca. That is a good shot of Guts on this window there with his foot propped against the frame. That's a really good shot of Guts. And it's just like him bandaged to hell, but all of like the metal and everything gone. It's a really good look. Oh, we had this beautiful, peaceful, tranquil moment on the ship. Never mind. Back to Death Town. Oh my God. I just imagine ending the chapter like month to month or however many months in between Miura like showing this. I just imagine you as a reader ending that chapter going, well, that was really nice. Like that was a beautiful moment. That was so sweet. And then you turn and then the next chapter opens and you're like, yeah, just, oh my God. So this seems like these are the same bodies that were at the castle before that still had flesh on them, and now they're just skeletons. Like, that much time has passed, where now they're just skeletons. Oh, my God. Wow. Oh, wow. And they're just hanging. Just bodies hanging. Oh. It reminds me a lot of when Guts was born, and they're all in the windows and everything. Are you certain, beyond a doubt? Laban, is this Laban? The Kushan force, led by the Emperor himself, suffered a defeat at Vertanis. They were defeated by the Band of the Hawk. No other man could be as manscaped as Laban. The Band of the Hawk, is that true? Vertanis was besieged by 200,000 of the Imperial army, and the Holy See Alliance forces could have fallen at any moment. A small cavalry launched a surprise attack and seized the Emperor. After negotiations, he was released on the condition that he withdrew all Kushan forces. 200,000 enemies, unbelievable. Well, no, maybe not for the legendary Band of the Hawk. Well, if this is true, then the White Hawk is yes. I believed no, I knew it from the start. That man would never be destroyed. He would come back. Oh, Foss looks a little different there. Hide and make ready for the tempest the hawk brings. Yes. Oh, I like the way Laban's lit there. I was shocked when I heard this news. I sensed somewhere in my heart that this is inevitable. Yeah, but you're all being influenced by the God Hand. There's another item of importance. Her Highness Princess Charlotte, whose whereabouts have been unknown since the day of the mysterious disturbance in Castle Wyndham, is presently in the Band of the Hawk. Oh, Midland's royal bloodline's intact. That means our kingdom lives on. The news is already rousing every city to Midland to action. Now that most of the occupation army is absent, a number of militias are rising up, seeing this as a golden opportunity to fly the flag of resistance. Well, the royal capital cannot afford to fall behind. But what to do about the hostages? Women rounded up from all over Midland are being held prisoner in the castle. If we move carelessly, it may put the prisoners in danger. Good job, Laban. Think of the people. Indeed, perhaps now is the time to sneak in and rescue the hostages while the Emperor is away. Oh, excuse me, Mr. Foss. But the children. Oh, what is it, little ones? It's dangerous to go outside this late at night. Why have you all gathered? Oh, and that's his daughter. Yeah. We all had the same dream. Like the one we had before. About the shining bird. Yeah, they're like, we've all had the same dream. It's all been like the God Hand showing them the same dream over and over again. On a night when you can't see the moon, all the fog in the city clears away. And all the Kushan soldiers and monsters in the city and castle go away with it. The fog clears and the monsters vanish. What does that mean? You have to stay inside your house as the fog leaves. Once the fog clears, it's safe until morning. You have to take all the people of Wyndham and get out of the city by then. All the people of Wyndham? Well, that's impossible. How are we supposed to tell every resident about these monsters prowling around? It might be doable. In fact, it's already been done. If the dream these children had was like that oracle, most of our subjects asleep tonight should have seen it too. Even if they don't believe it, all should remember that something will happen on the night of a full moon, of a new moon, if we seize that opportunity. What about when morning comes in the dream? Does something happen? Well, you see, morning comes, but it doesn't come. A big black shadow hides the sun. It's very scary. Big enough to cover the whole city. A black shadow hides the sun, but it's okay. The bird comes. The shiny bird calls up a big storm, and it blows the black shadow away. Which I'm assuming is supposed to be that the God Hand's trying to influence people to believe that Griffith is going to save them from the Kushan, right? Then the real morning comes. It's what everyone's been looking forward to. The true dawn. With that broken emblem of Griffith and their religion behind them. I mean, I don't know how to feel about this when they're all so like looking forward to Griffith's coming and for him to save them, but we the audience know that it's all a lie. So it's kind of like, I mean, like, woot? like, are we supposed to be excited for them? Because we're not, right? Because we know that that's not a good thing. Meanwhile, we're back to this. No, joking. Meanwhile, Griffith strolls into town. Yeah, looking like a demon with his eyes and everything. Oh, good hawk. I'm quite sorry to make you set out this early in the morning, Your Holiness. Oh, heavens no, it was I who suggested to accompany you. Last night my heart felt lifted and I slept quite well. I don't know when the last time I was, I never felt like this before. Your Holiness, your health will suffer if you're overexposed to the weather. Worry not, Your Highness, I'm not fated to die. Not until I perform your wedding ceremony. Oh, of course. Marriage has gathered us together today. Of course. Marriage ceremony, why not? Then, when I place the crown on the head of your spouse with my own hands, that will be my destiny. Until then, even if cannon fire rains down, I could see every blast missing me. Well, that's because Griffith's not going to let that happen. He's so conceited. Here we are en route to a showdown, and he manages to get into the pontiff's good graces. Come now, good sirs. We should be openly grateful to the White Hawk that we can set foot in our native lands like this. Were it not for the exploits of the Band of the Hawk, we might be lying dead in a foreign land right now. Well, I'm very well aware of that. A dramatic restoration, an excessively striking victory. I too may be affected a bit by this furor. But no wonder. That picture engraved in my mind convinces me that he's peerless. And then there is Sonia. Right? Oh, I like that Griffith's cape flaps on her head and she grabs it and puts it over hers, fishing for attention. Sonia is a brave soul to do that in front of him and not be afraid. What are you doing? Like Mule's like, what are you doing? She's like, I'm playing Kushan. I don't get her. Still though, look at the Alliance armies. I expected they might compete to see who would invest the largest force, but there's only a few thousand from each. Cavalry and infantry combined, they must have quailed in the face of 200,000 Kushan soldiers. Are you disappointed? Oh, there's Locus. The fool doesn't exist who would invest specifically in a land in which he has no prospect or dividend. The ones here are something like overseers ascertaining the situation. But the war's not ours alone, but all the Holy Seas. If it can be settled with only Midland sent forward, all the better. And if it can't, they probably intend to let us buy time as they each reorganize themselves. Well, they wouldn't. That's what they call politics. But such a trivial matter of this transient world no longer holds any meaning for this war. Before long, day will dawn. Yeah, Locust is like an apostle, so he's on the other side now. Mule doesn't understand. They're like, Locust and the apostles and Griffith, they don't care what all of these squabbling humans are doing. Because they're like, that's not the point. The point is to get this Data Dawn to join this. When he said this such a trivial matter of this transient world no longer holds meaning for this war, he's like, no, our goal is to combine these two worlds together and move on to this other plane of existence that's more important. This is just a means to an end. And I don't think they realize it. The true sun will shine upon the world. Look at these back-to-back images. Skull Knight and Griffith back to back. Look at those. Look at them. That seems rather intentional, doesn't it? Doesn't it? I feel Skull Knight, I've always thought this, I feel Skull Knight is like this in between Griffith and Guts. I feel like he had the ambition of Griffith to be this king and to be this ruler and to be the one that was like the sun shining upon the world. But then I also feel he was like Guts in his demeanor and in using the Berserker armor, etc. And he fell kind of into this route where he wants to gain revenge like Guts. So I want to know more about Skull Knight, but I know we're not there yet. But the fog of death. All right. Or Majesty, please wait. Don't do this. What is he doing? What's going on? Shut up, Daiba. There can be no other way now. But Majesty employs such a profoundly illicit practice. There's no precedent. At least test it using a Pishaka. I'm telling you there's no other way. My wound aches. It didn't even breathe heavily. Like it was fluttering in a cool breeze. That thing was simply there before me. But that was enough to leave me in pieces, disturbed and confused, exhausted and on my knees. We aren't even on the same level. However many hundreds, thousands of Pishaka and hundreds of thousands of soldiers I sent out, they'd never inflict a single wound upon it, or even snap off a single hair. My apostle instincts tell me so. I like that he calls Griffith it. Like he won't even designate Griffith to be human. Failure, 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 then so be it. What are we doing now? Why are we going back to this? What we doing? Oh my God. What? I have no choice but to transcend apostlehood. How is that? I don't think you can make yourself into a god hand. I think that that's not how this works. I don't think that's how this works. I don't think that's how this works. What are we doing? Come to me, Hawk. Lift up your eyes and witness the advent of a towering demon god. Maybe that was part of Griffith letting him go. I was like, why are you letting him go and not killing him? But maybe Griffith knew that he was this insane and this overrun with pride that he would make a move like this. And Griffith's like, all the better for me. Oh my God. What we doing? Oh, wow. The fog's moving. Keep still. You mustn't open any doors or windows. This also feels kind of like the Passover. It feels a little bit like the story of the Passover in Christianity, where if you had to put lamb's blood on the door because the angel of God was coming to kill the firstborn sons when Moses was escaping the city. But if you kept the lamb's blood on the door, then God would overlook you. But if not, now in that story, the angel of death would go into any house that wasn't with a mark and kill the firstborn son. But this feels very similar to it. Oh my God. Oh, well, there goes an eyeball. Oh my God. Oh no, like just killing everything. Those tigers and shit and those gators, you could use those, sir. Oh no. Oh my God. What's with your face? Oh my God. Bro. Oh, shit. What the? Oh, my God. This is some messed up shit. Oh. Oh, the fog's being sucked in. All the life the fog was touching. So it's like, oh my God, it's like the opposite of a Behelit. Yeah, it's like the sacrifices from the Behelit. It's devoured. The fog is His Majesty's demonic element, his imperial person itself. It's gobbling up every last bit of flesh and blood it touches. This demon womb is a reincarnation vessel. It took my entire life to make. You could say it's a man-made Behelit. So his entire life to make. So they've been working on this shit way, 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 way beyond the events that were happening with Griffith. And, well, I mean, we shouldn't be surprised because the God Hand's been planning this whole thing from the beginning since Griffith was a kid. So yeah, it makes sense they've been working on this from the Kushan side since before the eclipse was even conceived. Oh my God. Like, this is adding a whole nother layer to how long this has been in the works. A truly genuine reincarnation has cast himself into the reincarnation vessel. Further reincarnation of a reincarnation. Don't think such things don't occur. You're getting into like inbred dogs. It comes from the bowels of the astral world. Comes something unbelievably sinister. Something wicked this way comes. Yeah, this is going to be the darkness that's going to envelop the city as the dream that everybody had, the vision everyone had was purporting, and then Griffith's going to come in and save them all. Of course he is. Silent darkness. I mean, isn't darkness silent? You know what I mean. Oh, I do like the touch, real quick. I do like the touch of the castle. And we see like the empty streets and everything. And then that little stream coming from the lion's mouth. It's almost like you can hear it. You can hear that page. Oh. The fog is gone. The monsters are really gone like that dream. Like in that revelation. Okay. We are the Arklow Knights of the Midland Army. All of you gather in the plaza in front of the cathedral. In accordance with the dream revelation, all the people of Wyndham will now escape to the royal city. I need a representative from each district to be chosen. Spread word to your neighbors. Bring 2 or 3 days' provisions with you and nothing else. There's plenty of time before morning. All right. Something like this is really happening. What's more, everyone in the city is accepting it as a matter of course, and that includes me. He's like, yeah, I like that Laban has some of his wits about him to be like, okay, dream or no dream, this is all really freaky, and everyone's just treating it like it's normal, but he's like, shouldn't we be worried about this? I'm glad Laban has his head. I'm glad Laban is thinking considerately. Oh my God. Yep. But that's where the mask came from. Uh-huh. Oh, no. Okay. It's as if people were walking around right before it happened. Yeah, and before Ganishka absorbed them all. Okay, and they're like, there's nobody left. Yeah. At this point, Ganishka doesn't care. Oh. Okay, oh, they're curtains. All right. Okay, let's get them out of here. Oh, they've come. Just like in the Revelation. Everyone having this same dream is a bit... Yeah. It wasn't it because you believed in the Revelation that you covered up the bars like that? Are we being saved? As the dream foretold. We can leave, we're going to live. The Hawk of Light. Mm-hmm. It's just so wild to me because Griffith's fabricated this whole thing to happen. It's just like a mass brainwashing. He's like, this isn't good. I never expected this many along with the people of Wyndham. At the very least, the numbers in the tens of thousands. It probably won't be possible to get them all out of the city by morning using the underground waterways as we originally planned. this was part of it. Oh my God. Oh. Oh, the Kushan. Oh my God. They're not Kushan. Oh. They're not Kushan, then who are they? Oh! They're all just posing as them. Interesting. Oh, they all, yep, okay. With the, oh, they put all of the women in the suits of armor. Okay, that all makes sense. So they could get them out of the city. And now we're going to escape from Wyndham. Look at Laban. Laban thinking on his feet. We'll put all the women in armor with the costumes that are left over and we'll get out of here. Look at that. Good job. Good job, Laban. Awesome. Yep. And everybody moving like this. Yes. Perfect. Laban, you are a man among men. Exodus. Well, of course. There we go. We're getting out of the city. This very much feels like Moses leaving the city. It's like, have faith. I mean, there's no other answer. Everything the children said corresponds so far. Their predictions came true. A little further ahead and we pass the Kushan garrison. If we can just get through the gate. Oh, so them being in the suits of armor. He's like, but they don't know. Oh, man. They don't know how to speak in the Kushan language, so how is this going to work? I mean, it's smart that they got to this point with the suits of armor on, but how are they going to get through? Okay. There was a mix-up. I'll help you play along with me. Oh, he speaks our language. Who's this guy? My name is Jareth. I am of the Band of the Hawk's espionage division. Oh. Yes, there are quite a few of us in the band. Kushan who have pledged fealty to the Hawk. I mean, I can understand that because Ganishka is so extreme. And we've seen from volumes past some of the Kushan being like, we're just going to go and help out the Hawk. But here's the thing. Griffith knew that in order for all of this to work, in order for everything to fall in line, he needed to have people of the Kushan to help him. It's so crazy because the story, if you were reading this story without having experienced the eclipse, right? If you started this story from when Griffith came back in volume 23 and you didn't know anything about the eclipse, then you would think that Griffith was this big hero. You're like, oh my God, he's like helped liberate some of the Kushan people and integrated them in the army and doing all this and that. And it does, like, Miura makes no attempt at all to give any doubt or speculation to Griffith's actions. None. Whatsoever. No one is doubting him. Except for Guts and our crew over there across the sea because they know what he's done in the past. And it's just kind of like, you're just sitting here watching going, yeah, this is cool and all, but what's Griffith going to do with y'all after this new day has dawned? What's going to happen then? Meanwhile, we'd never draft soldiers from the enemy empire we're currently fighting. At least not aside from war slaves. I couldn't agree more. And here's the thing, like, and see that, like, these guys are saying, like, well, we would never take, enemy men as our soldiers, which is kind of like, it makes Griffith look like this saint for doing the right thing when these guys aren't willing to concede that. But who goes there but our SILAT? I've got no cause to give the enemy my name. Look at SILAT looking bitchin'. This is a surprise that you'd scheme a large-scale escape by these means. Where'd you scrape together this huge amount of equipment? Did something happen? Then there's you. You dared to say you're a pledged of the Hawk, you traitor. For SILAT to still be loyal despite knowing Ganishka, we'll have to cut our way through. If we leave even one alive, the Kushan will be after us. Now, just a moment. You people are of the Bakaraka clan, are you not? Stay back, Mr. Foss, it's dangerous. Bakaraka? Yeah, he's like, I remember them! There's a group of assassins that secretly work for the lands of the Holy See. Oh! Your master's the former royal family of Midland. were good sponsors of ours. Oh, well, our royal family would never hire a bunch of heathens like you. But he did. That's right. The King of Midland did hire them. That was that whole deal. Oh my God. It's been forever. It's been literal. In real time, it's been, not too long, but it's been years in this manga. That's right. I hear the Bakuraka are all masters of astounding killing arts. Don't take them lightly. We have women and children here. Exercise discretion. I've heard of the Bakuraka's bitter history. Previously, you were a clan of war slaves serving the overthrown royal family. Driven from your home, you finally reached this strange land. You're a warrior people who survived as assassins, relying only on your extraordinary combat skills. So I like the idea of SILAT being this prince whose royal family was basically exiled, that's been wandering around trying to find their way back. To you, this war is a once-in-a-lifetime chance to establish a foothold in the imperial army and repatriate the land of your birth. Do you dispute this? Oh, we can see his face! You're quite well informed and quick-witted. The hawk chooses his men well. Oh, I like that we get to see SILAT's face. Knowing this, I dare to say this. Clan of the Bakuraka, would you care to try serving my master the hawk? Oh, I'm sure Griffith would love that. That's one less enemy to have. Really? I love I get to see SILAT's face. This is great. SILAT's a handsome dude. What madness is this? You're recruiting the enemy who stands before us? These are Kushan. So are you, though. The empire is indeed mighty, but it's an empire of terror led by a mad emperor. Not wrong. Would you dare to assist that tyranny in order to be reinstated to the Kushan? Would you throw away your pride as a warrior? Pride as a warrior, you say? We lost any such thing a long time ago. Ever since, we adorned ourselves in the wretched guise of assassins in this land. If the clan can survive and claim a land in which to live peacefully, we don't care if we have to eat mud and finish up without a name. Cast about the word tyranny if you like, we side with the strong. Besides, someone of your quick wit should know this. No nation exists in this world that doesn't practice tyranny. They use it to compete and struggle for supremacy. That itself is the reason of the world of man. He's like, don't just think that because you're serving Griffith, that Griffith ain't going to be the same way. He's like, don't think that that's not how this goes. Haven't you realized the truth? Your clan's land of peace could lie beneath the wings of the hawk. And the future the hawk will bring about could perhaps lie outside the reason the world of man which with you speak. What do you mean? I'm not sure. It's just a sense, no, a conviction. Everyone who sides with the hawk has it. This war is not as it appears to be. Some reconquista to retake a kingdom or some jihad between two peoples claiming different gods. Right now we find ourselves in some unbelievable, inscrutable, tremendous current. Guiding it is the hawk. So here's my theory. Maybe he's right. Maybe this man's like, yeah, you know what? If we just follow Griffith, he's going to end all wars and we won't be in this constant state of conflict with Griffith in charge. It'll be different than all the other tyrannies. Here's my thing. The God Hand is trying to get the two realms fused together so they can try to use that to bounce them into another astral plane. What if Griffith's like, yes, I've gotten you all together. I've made the world one peaceful place. Now I'm going to sacrifice you all so that I can use that power to go into this other realm of existence. What if that's what he's trying to do? And that's part of it. And SILAT's like, what? This war is nothing more than a single event in that current. And what lies in its path is, what are you trying to say? What are you saying lies in its path? A new world that no one has ever seen. This is giving me Neon Genesis vibes, where Griffith's like, well, let's all just become one in the primordial soup together. And then we'll just be one entity and nobody will have any more wars because you won't have an identity anymore. I'm getting those vibes. I'm getting that flashback vibes. I don't know how to feel about it. If you've read Attack on Titan, you know that conflict, as long as two people are alive in this world, there will always be conflict. But if Griffith makes everybody just one giant entity, I guess there's not any conflict. I don't know. Quite a speech. Isn't it a bit grandiose to say just to snare an enemy? Otherwise, it's the speech of a band of fanatics. That could very well be true. I like the one guy's like, yeah, kind of. And I like that SILAT's not taking the bait. He's like, no, this seems too good to be true. I don't like this talk of new worlds and things are going to be different. And he's like, well, go then. Young master, don't get me wrong. Do you think we can capture this many of them on our own? I don't care to run around fixing others' mistakes. That's all. Kudos to SILAT. Like, I love SILAT. SILAT, like I said last volume, he is our one man that isn't falling for Griffith's traps. He's like, no, this seems a little bit weird. I don't know how to feel about this. No, I like that SILAT's the one person not falling for it. At least not at the moment. Oh, maybe I have caught glimpses of this inscrutable kern or whatever it is you describe. However, we Bakaraka have been at the mercy of an undeniable fate. We've survived, relying solely on our own bodies and skills, and we too have come to perceive something. Is it right to yield oneself to something inscrutable? Having said that, the same applies to the Mad Emperor. I'll watch with my own eyes and see whether this new world of yours is really coming or not. Yeah, bitch, yes! Thank you, SILAT. I'm so glad you exist. I'm so glad you're here, and I'm glad that Laban got this moment. I like that SILAT is like, oh, hey, whenever somebody's claiming to be a god or seems like there may be an omnipotent power, don't trust that. And SILAT believes that because he saw all of the horrors that went down inside the temple. And I know some people are going to say, well, that justified, all those horrible things that happened to those women. I still maintain that it could have been done in a more tasteful fashion, but SILAT did have to see that and witness it to get to that point. So yeah, I love that SILAT's like, if somebody's running around claiming to be a god and they're doing things, he's like, this whole dream that y'all are collectively having, do you not think that's a little bit weird? Are you not questioning it? Are you not wondering, should we be trusting all this? I love SILAT. He's rising up the ranks for me. I love this man. Yes, please. Oh, wow. Hello there, Sir Owen. Oh, Miura, bitch. Just, what is this? We're trying to, this no homo wrist bump. Like, let them touch weenuses. Let them go. Shut up. Just let them be together. Damn it. Yeah, they could have at least hugged. You're still alive, as are you, thankfully. Want to go make out later? We have much to discuss. And then Foss is like, shit, there he be. On his hill. Damn, Miura loves to draw Griffith. Miura just wants to draw a double spread of Griffith, looking the most beautiful, of course, with his demon eyes and everything, looking like a giant red flag covered with a white flag. And then we go to this next page in black. Oh my God. I'm so glad SILAT was like, peace out, Girl Scout. You all can have him. Thank you, SILAT. I've been waiting. I was hoping last week, I was like, is SILAT going to be the one that's going to be our questioner of Griffith? He's all by himself, but he is the one to question it. I'm like, thank God. Thank you. SHIVA. Oh, shit. That's a goddess, isn't it? Oh, my God. Oh, no. Well, if the Emperor was ugly before... Oh my God, we definitely be it now. Oh my God. Oh, I've obtained it. In the infernal abyss, I obtained it. It just looks like he absorbed everything. He's got the troll noses, everything. I don't think he I don't think he went to a higher plane of existence. I think he just went deeper down into the bog. Oh my God. The power, the absolute power. Oh my God. Oh shit. Yep. Well, there's your darkness. It looks like the tree. It looks like a tree. Oh my God. The mustache, everything. That is insane. Again, man, I keep going back to Isayama for Attack on Titan and Akutami for Jujutsu Kaisen and Tite Kubo for Bleach. But those three mangaka in particular, there is so much I see from reading their works that is directly inspired from this. And Bleach spoilers for a hot 30 seconds. If you don't want Bleach spoilers leading up to, this is before the current anime, but leading up to it, it's from 15 years ago. What do you care? But if you don't want to be spoiled, just skip ahead 30 seconds. But this whole thing of Ganishka just like absorbing this omnipotent power and becoming more and more grotesque and not like looking refined, it is essentially like Aizen at the end of the Arrancar arc where he absorbs the Hogyoku and just becomes this monster. Like, that's literally what this is like. And then, you know, if you want to get Dragon Ball Z included in it, here's my thing. There's that spectrum where I think the contrast is the uglier, usually in manga, especially shonen, the uglier the individual becomes as they level up, the weaker they actually probably are. The more refined and elegant they look as they power up, the more you should be worried. So like Dragon Ball Z, as Frieza gets more and more refined, you should be more and more worried. As Cell gets more refined, you should get more and more worried. As Boo gets more refined, you should get more and more worried. Here with Ganishka, he's getting bigger and grosser and more ominous, but Griffith's gonna just like hack through him, right? Because he's not on that same level. Oh my God, and there we go. That's from the dream. This form. Mm-hmm. Yes. Cramped. Oh my God. Holy shit. This is no mist. It's an arm of flesh. Yep. This is the one that was in the dream. Yep. Oh, to strike the enemy, to take what I desire and see it. More arms. How much evil has he taken into his body? He's become hell itself. Hell is overflowing. Yeah, and of course Griffith's like, well, I'm going to be this heavenly light that's going to dash through hell. Oh my God. Oh, wow. That's insane. What is that sound? It's an earthquake. Oh. Look at the sky. The sky is already... And yet... Uh-huh. Wow. Isayama drawing all that influence. Oh, wow. Yes. Rumbling, rumbling. It's coming. And then we contrast that with the white. Yes. So then... Everybody's looking. SILAT and them are looking. Charlotte and them are looking. Laban and Owen are looking. And meanwhile, you have all the humans on one side of the page, and then all of the demons on the other side of the page getting ready. Yep, Grunbeld and Locust and Irving, and the other one, and all their demon eyes. Yep. It ends. The reason of the world ends now. And then there is Griffith. Be like, so this is going to be our final battle, the darkness versus the hawk. And according to this, Griffith's going to win and stop the reason. Basically, Sonia, as we've acknowledged, the reason of mankind is to go to war. Well, Griffith's going to stop all the wars by defeating Ganishka and the Kushan. But to what end? I'm sure it'll all end in sunshine and rainbows. Yep. Oh my God. Yeah. Sunshine and rainbows. I'm sure. The funny thing is with all of those arms coming out and all of that, it kind of looks similar to like the hawk emblem, except the wings have become all these arms. It's very Lovecraftian. But yeah, the shadow that it puts there against all of them. And it's like you expect Griffith's forces to win, and you don't want Charlotte and them to die, but then you're like, well, after they win, what's going to happen? Right? Oh my God. The heavens shook. Meanwhile, we're going to end the volume probably with these guys. Okay. Oh, I like Azon and Isidro, like, training together. That's super cute. Aw, and Serpico's like, I like that Serpico is embracing his role as Windmaster. I love it. It's like the witch girl was saying, for some reason, a good wind blows whenever you stand here. Oh, because of the wind spirits. Well, smooth sailing makes for a smooth voyage, so you're a great help to us sailors. He's like, I'm just being used. Yeah. Not that I mind. It's a special seat. He gets to watch Farnese up there. Look at him. I see you. The sylphs gather there as long as Serpico is present. They've gathered to play. You seem rather used to your luminous body now too, Farnese. This might be a good time to move to a slightly deeper level to establish a contract with the spirit. Oh. Uh-oh. I guess you can't fish with cheese. I had a feeling that thing wouldn't work. The fish of the sea are bigger and ferocious. You got to give them more than a mouthful. A bigger mouthful. Hey, get out of my pouch. What are you talking about? This is an effort to invigorate you, so quit complaining. Uh-oh. Oh, no. Mm-hmm. It's time to pay back for all that you do. Cut that out. Oh, Lord Betchy is angered. I sacrificed this, so calm yourself. What sacrifice? Oh, no. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, everybody's getting affected. But she doesn't have the talisman back on her chest like Guts has on his, so he probably can't feel it as much. What is this bizarre sensation? Shirk, did you feel that? Yes, some unbelievable calamity seems to be taking place. It feels it's from inland to the east, and it's huge, like the world is tearing apart. Well, he did absorb all this massive, so it's basically like a false eclipse, right? Oh my God. It's like he's created this false eclipse himself. Oh my God. Crap. Oh my God, Miura. I mean, impressive, but shit. Wow, yeah. It's a god. I mean, it would appear that way to them, I'm sure. Insects, what are these little bugs? Oh, yes, that's a foot. Their feet. Feet for trampling and crushing the enemy beneath. It's almost like an elephant, like they're tree trunks. He's like an ant almost. Oh my God, but it's his own people that he's crushing. Of course, now he probably doesn't care. He probably doesn't care who in his army he crushes. Wow. Yeah, because he doesn't think he needs them anymore. Red flowers just bloomed. They're beautiful. Oh my God. And it's like all the bodies that he's crushed. So beautiful. Bloom red flowers, bloom away. And the worst part about this is that, of course, you want to stop Ganishka because he's killing all these people and causing all this damage. But if Griffith had killed him in the last volume, none of this would happen. But he didn't. He enabled this to happen because he knew it was going to happen. Because he knew that this was all going to go down. Oh my God. It's like Gumby. It's like Lovecraft Gumby coming at them. That's the beast of the end. The one who brings an end to the reason of the world. It's like a god. It's the god Shiva, that which lies outside of reason. Who knew we'd see it in a form such as this? Do you intend to challenge that demon god? Well, of course. What a sight to see. It's like the end of the world. Oh, a giant monster! There's nothing to fear, my children. Rather, open your eyes and watch bravely. Now is the prophesied time. This beast that pierces the heavens is the personification of all calamity, the embodiment of darkness. But darkness is sure to be driven away by the hawk of light. All of you here today are blessed. Before your eyes a miracle shall, nay, we're already in the midst of a miracle. I'm like, all these people are going to be convinced that Griffith is literally the savior of the world. So what do we do with that? We got one more page. Oh, and then of course, yeah. Yes, the Hawk of Light. And then of course we get Griffith and Guts next to each other. We get Batman Guts and Griffith right there. I mean, it's pretty clear what Miura is setting up. Miura is going to set up Griffith to be this all omnipotent savior of saviors, best person ever. And then Guts is going to confront him, and everybody is going to be like freaking brainwashed, being like, but don't you see how great Guts is? And how great Griffith is? And Guts is going to get overwhelmed by his anger. And then that's when the beast is going to strike. That's when the beast of darkness is going to strike. And I'm sure that's intentional. But maybe Miura won't let that happen. Maybe. Maybe. Okay. Oh, of course, Griffith has that cover art for volume 33. Of course. Just in all white. Mm-hmm. Now, there were some posters back at the beginning. I want to go back and look at those posters at the beginning and see those. Correct? Correct? Weren't there? I feel like there were. Yes. What were our posters? Oh my God. Well, if you wanted a poster of Ganishka, the darkness, I guess you could have that. I don't know why you would want a poster of that, but... Oh, look at Roderick! I will take a poster of Roderick any day. Nice. Good on ya. And then there's, of course, Griffith. Oh, look. Our little devil assaultist. Let's get him on the wall. I appreciate the artwork of Miura's posters, but like, these people are despicable. Why would you want to hang them on your wall? Like, why would you want to hang the old elder witch? Like, oh, that one though. That one of Guts and Shirk, that poster's really good. I like that. That one's really good. I like it. I like that it's like purple and it looks like a little luminescent. It's light. And then Guts is in darkness. Nice. Nice. So yeah, if Miura's goal is to give Guts the hardest foe to ever have against himself, and it's Griffith, who everyone loves, well, okay. The one good thing that came out of this was that SILAT has not drank the Kool-Aid. SILAT's like, doesn't this seem a bit much, guys? Don't you think this all seems a bit convoluted, guys? So I'm hoping that SILAT doesn't drink the Kool-Aid. I hope that SILAT is our one person who is like, this doesn't seem right. Doesn't this seem... He's our one conspiracy theorist. It's like, I don't know if I'm buying this. But everybody else, I know what's going to happen next volume. I know what's going to happen. Griffith is somehow, because he's a god hand, going to take out Ganishka. He's going to take him out, and then everybody's going to, like, all of the remaining Kushan that were nearly killed by Ganishka are going to flock to Griffith. Griffith's going to unite them all together as this savior, and he's going to be the best person ever. And I'm like, what do we do with that? So we'll just have to wait and see. I am going to see comments for, it'll be volumes 29 and 30. That's where Patreon and YouTube are about to be. So I'm going to wait and get comments for those volumes. But then I'm going to have to dive into volume 34 because I want to see how this goes down. The artwork is gorgeous. The artwork is absolutely stunning in terms of, what Miura's done art-wise. But with the story. I would, again, as beautiful as the Ganishka art is and as beautiful it is, it's like we know how the song and dance is going to go with Griffith. It's just going to be more of the same. At least with SILAT there, it's interesting. SILAT being the one conspiracy theorist, like, are y'all seeing this? That's the most interesting part of that storyline. That and seeing Owen and Laban reunite. This whole Miura. But I would much rather go back to the ship and explore that whole dynamic with Guts and Casca and Farnese and all of that with Roderick. I'm much more interested in that and them going to Elfhelm. At least Magnifico is disposed of at the moment. Him and Puck are just going to conspire together, and that'll give Isidro time to play with Azon. So I'm curious about Azon too, but I guess we'll have to wait and find out. So in the meantime, I hope you all have a wonderful week. Please stay safe. Take care. I'm excited to hear your comments down below, but I'll be back very soon with volume 34 of Berserk. Bye. See y'all.